as the Partygate scandal in the UK rages on, Prime Minister Boris Johnson says he will not resign. Boris Johnson said he will stay in power as MPs claimed they are close to triggering a no-confidence vote over alleged lockdown parties at Downing Street. Addressing MPs during his Prime Minister's question, Johnson said he apologized sincerely for attending a Downing Street party in May 2020. Still in the UK Consumer Price Index today was up by 5.4% year-on-year in December. This surpasses the 5.2% expected, and the prior month, November's 5.1% increase was the fastest pace for 30 years. On a month-on-month basis, inflation was up by 0.5%, higher than expectations of 0.3%, but lower than the 0.7% growth on a month-on-month basis in November. Arise correspondent Laila Johnson-Salami joins us now live from Downing Street. Laila, Happy New Year. Good to see you. Want to start with inflation. How are people in the UK reacting to price increases on goods and services?
Happy New Year to you too, Rotas. I must say that people are extremely worried. This is a surge that the Bank of England pretty much failed to anticipate, and it came as a shock to the British public. Now, over the past few months, people have seen these soaring prices, and the question is, how far is this going to go? Now, we know that expected inflation rates could reach 6% by spring, as gas and electricity prices are expected to rise in April. So a lot of people here in the UK are extremely worried about what this means for them. I've had conversations with members of the public today who genuinely are expressing two things: worry, like I've mentioned, and also fury. Fury at the fact that this shouldn't necessarily, well, it's a global crisis that we're going through, but people do get furious when things do start to impact their day-to-day lives. And there's a lot of worry and a lot of fury. Fury as to what we're seeing right now, the highest inflation rates in 30 years, and then worry as to what's to come. There are economists who are predicting that inflation rates could soar as high as 6.5 and even 7%. So the mood is not great on the ground, but that's the news.
All right. And speaking of fury, Laila, Boris Johnson saying that he won't resign. Is there any threat of a no confidence vote from his own Tory party?
There certainly is a threat of a no-confidence vote, Rotas. We know that last night it was reported that about 20 Tory MPs met to discuss letters of no confidence. And this morning around 8 a.m., we believe that about 10 Tory MPs submitted letters of no confidence to the 1922 Commission. Now, this is a big problem for Boris Johnson and the Conservatives going forward, because these aren't the first letters of no confidence to be submitted. And while the number isn't clear as to just how many letters of no confidence have been submitted so far, we know that the Tory party needs 54 letters of no confidence, or 15% of their entire party or members of parliament from their party, in order for there to be a vote of no confidence. So things are not necessarily looking bright, I must say.
And Laila, if you combine these two, between inflation, we're at a 30-year high, and the Partygate, it looks like Boris Johnson is under the cosh at this point.
Absolutely. Things are not looking great for Boris Johnson. But as we saw in Parliament earlier on today, Boris Johnson was extremely defensive, highly political in his approach, ensuring that he wanted to focus on the wins throughout the pandemic that he believes his government had, and genuinely ignoring and pretty much pushing aside and deflecting on every question relative to Partygate. So you can see that this is extremely problematic for him right now, extremely problematic for the Tories. And the question is he going about it in the right way? It's a tricky situation for him to be in, but at the end of the day, the public is furious, and the court of public opinion does matter when it comes to these things. And quite frankly, Britain is furious. Britain is extremely furious at what's going on here. So that's it.
And Laila, just final question. Johnson was talking, he talked up, how far his government has come with dealing with COVID restrictions. What's your observation on the ground? Are people still masking? Are they just tired of restrictions? How would you gauge reaction to that?
Very good question. Do the Brits mask that much? That's the first question. People are masking, but not as much as you would have expected to see during that Plan B period. Now that restrictions are also going to be lifted, the question is, what are we going to expect? Now, we know that Omicron is still soaring across the UK, but at the end of the day, these restrictions are being lowered, are being lifted, and there is worry as to what effect this could possibly have given the pandemic and the crisis that we're in. But that's the decision that's been made. Looking around, you don't see many people wearing masks, but you do see people who seem worried about the pandemic wearing masks. So it's not to say that people aren't wearing masks, but it is to say that things do seem a bit more lax across the UK, I must say.
Laila Johnson Salami, our Rise correspondent, live from Downing Street in the UK. Thank you so much for giving us the latest. Thanks for your time. All right.